Hello, and welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings and everything important since the dawn of time, July 23rd edition, all day. This is a very special one. I have some really exciting stuff to present, and we'll get there in a moment. But first off, 1914 today, absolutely epic, out of this world, illustrator Virgil Finlay was born. He's got more than just the covers covered, but rather all the internal workings. Wonderful illustrations. The mind boggles on what he was able to create. Speaking of mind-boggling, Vera Rubin was born today, 1928, who was a theoretical physicist in the mid-20th century who identified a staggeringly large amount of the universe by way of presenting dark matter as a very strong contender for what the majority of our universe is, truly. And her findings for many years were discounted, I believe, primarily because she was a woman working in a field that was dominated by men, which is completely insane. Completely insane. And she was absolutely adorable, and you should go check out Vera Rubin. On the day she was born, 1928, to celebrate her legacy, because she was able to beat back and win from the morons of her age, in that, like, people believe her findings to be very possibly the case. So this lady may have truly identified the overwhelming majority of the universe, and maybe we should, this is not our universe, but rather hers that we're living in. Or perhaps it is Suzanne Waldron's universe that we're just living in. Who is that, you ask? Why, it is Tarantula Ghoul. That's right, Suzanne Waldron. You can see that there. She was Portland, Oregon's horror host, and she was born today in 1931. Here is a now from Bobby's Bar piece of artwork he did of her. I am a huge fan, and that includes, but it's not limited to, this original 1950s press release all about Tarantula Ghoul and her House of Horrors TV show. She also made a Rock and Roll 45, Graveyard Rock, paired in the back with King Kong. That exists. Some photos of her with, I believe, her husband dressed as an almost Charles Ogle, Thomas Edison's Frankenstein-looking creature. Some photos of them together still exist, but the actual television shows are all lost, completely lost. It's a huge shame, tragedy, I should say, and yet this press release describes what we otherwise can't have access to. Do you want to hear a little bit of it? It's a lot. I'll try to get through as quick as I can and cut around a bit. Tarantula Ghoul hosts KPTV's House of Horror. When the current TV monster rage began, it was no surprise to have missed Tarantula Ghoul, hostess on the House of Horror, featuring late-night horror movies on KPTV Channel 12, Portland, Oregon, from its initial telecast on October 9th, 1957, which is 3 years after Vampira already went off the air in Southern California. House of Horror caught the morbid fancy and imagination of a vast Northwest television audience. As one columnist wrote, Tarantula Ghoul is a refreshing shock in an otherwise ordinary local television scene. Immediately following the first show, Tarantula, or Taranch as she was also referred to, was deluged with phone calls, wires, and letters from college fraternities, high school organizations, and even grade school students bestowing upon her such titles and honors as our favorite ghoul friend, the ghoul we're most dying to meet, Miss Permanent Homecoming, Miss Halloween, Miss this and that. In fact, they didn't miss a thing. The college reaction that. Um, let's cut it. Let's go forward here. The most obvious explanation for Tarantula Ghoul's general family audience reception lies in the fact that she has always presented a character of humor and satire, never of horror itself. For many, she offers an emotional release from the more terrifying, intense moments in the films she presents. Resembling a rather diabolic cross between Charles Adams's Woman and the road company Tallulah Bankhead, she romps through one of the most elaborately produced and scripted weekly shows produced in the Northwest. There's little that doesn't fall in her witty, acid tongue, including her sponsor. She has assailed the City Zoo Commission for neglecting facilities for exhibiting prehistoric animals. She graciously accepted the nomination to the position of worthy post-mortem matron of the DSWT, Daughters of the Salem Witchcraft Trials. She has formed a local chapter of the Black Cross for instructions in second aid, aid given when first aid has failed. She lectures on the cares and feeding of babies using as a model a live 9-foot boa constrictor, a regular on her show. Her mimicry of TV commercials such as the new Black Liquid Risk detergent, her party hints for dyeing partly hatched crocodile eggs so the children will have a surprise awaiting them inside their Easter eggs. Her recipes for such delectable dishes as poison ivy hollandaise, anything, everything have too many made her a bigger attraction than the pictures she is hosting. Elaborate production backs up every House of Horror show. For Frankenstein and the sons thereof, the entire laboratory was recreated nearly as possible for her entrance straight off the operating table. For the Mummy, she made her entrance from a mummy case in King Tut's tomb, where she was tomb guesting. For Murders in the Rue Morgue, she did the show in French with English subtitles. King Kong was presented as a satire on This Is Your Life, entitled This Was His Life. A studio audience of some 40 monsters gathered to pay tribute to the live chimpanzee named Kenya, an alleged great-great-grandson of Kong. Following the NBC Academy Award program, Tarantula Ghoul presented her own 1957 Horror Awards direct from the Hollywood morgue, using film clips from various horror films to show the nominees. Her basic surrounding consists of the exterior and interior of her house of horror, which was built specifically overlooking a rather rundown cemetery for the view. Her coffin is built of pine as a salute to the Northwest lumber industry. She has a patio where, together with her invisible gardener, Milton, a retired gravedigger, they plant things, plus a large cemetery set where she is able to visit the friends of her neighborhood. On House of Horror, Tarant bewails the fact that she must rise at the crack of night, 10 p.m., to greet her guests. However, this is far from fact when you talk to Tarantula Ghoul, who in real life rises early each day and goes to bed late at night. Aside from a goodly number of years of stage training, she is a professional radio and television actress. Her real name is Suzanne Waldron. Today, were you to call her by her given name on the street or at the studio, she probably would pass you by. Even her family and close friends and associates call her Tarantula, or Taranch for short. Each performance for this young actress begins the Friday before the Wednesday show, when she views her forthcoming film with her writer-producer, John Ralston, and KPTV's program manager, Gordon White. After the preview, they decide whether the show will be a special, designed visually and script-wise to the actual film itself, or a regular, utilizing the basic House of Horror set. If it is to be a special, Art Mueller, the art director, and the director, Harry Godsill, are called in to go over the ideas conjured by the writer-producer. Following this conference, Miss Waldron usually rushes into costume and makeup to accompany KPTV's promotional manager, Albert McLaughlin, on what has now become a Friday and Saturday night ritual. Personal appearances at colleges, high schools, and promotional functions of every type and description. Sunday is the one day she can usually be herself, if she isn't pursuing one of her favorite sports, skiing, horseback riding, western style, or surf swimming. She can usually be found with a small group of friends enjoying some of her or their records. She is an avid hi-fi fan and likes all types of music. Yes, she even likes Elvis Presley. She believes all types of music had their place with the exception of Spike Jones. She's still looking for his place, believing there must be one somewhere. Among her closest friends, you'll find, quote, a rather nightmarish mural of TV and radio actors, painters, dancers, and even a yogi enthusiast that I use to startle dull guests. A visit to her apartment is a visit also with a large, over-friendly, if you're the nervous type, Great Dane dog named Frankenstein. She loves dogs of every type and description, and at times, her apartment takes on the appearance of the city dog pound with rescued homeless strays. She loves, time permitting, taking trips in her Pontiac convertible. It's white with red and white leather upholstery, since she prefers to wear mostly black. My choice of cars has nothing to do with my sponsor, Meadows Pontiac. I just fell in love with it. She hastens to add. She loves to cook and an array of rare and exotic foreign dishes and inflicts them with on her friends and guests with appropriate musical backgrounds. It beats reading National Geographic, she says. After seeing Sayonara, it was nothing but Japanese dishes served on the floor. Miss Waldron was born in the Northwest, where she lives through her high school days. She describes herself during school days as a rather depressing combination of being too tall, too thin, and too shy. I was always interested in acting, the movies, and theater. I tried out for every play, assembly, and show of any kind. However, the director's reaction to me was, as I said before, too tall, too thin, and too shy. This brand even held true with the boys I had crushes on. My mother, not wanting a wallflower in the family, suggested I get away from home to a completely different surrounding for my college education. I selected Highland University in Las Vegas, New Mexico. It was the best choice I could have had made for there. In the surroundings of sunshine and artists in all fields of endeavor, I found that individualism counted, and this I had. Here, I made my first stage appearance, ironically enough, as one of the witches in Macbeth. From that moment on, I knew that theater in some form was for me. I appeared in numerous roles, being everybody's mother, aunt, ugly sister. However, when starring character roles presented themselves, such as Elizabeth the Queen or Mad Woman of Chaliet, I was rewarded with these. After college, and with a great deal of confidence, I plunged into the aspiring actress a bit of summer stock, winter stock, and touring shows, but nothing of earth-shattering consequence. Eventually, I became stranded back in my own hometown of Portland, where I took to doing radio shows and commercials acquired, for the most part, through my ability to use trick voice. It was during a recording session that I met my present writer and producer. He used me a great deal on radio and television spots, and we became great friends. One day, after about a year, I received a hurried phone call from John asking if I would consider making myself ridiculous in order to have a show of my own. Naturally, the thought of my own show interested me, and even if it meant being ridiculous, I said I'd do it. 3 months went into planning. In fact, I began to think that the show would never even see a final format. The stumbling block was the shortage of quality horror films. However, Screen Gems then released the Shock package, and we were in business when KPTV purchased it. I've had some of the most terrifying, hilarious, and heartwarming experiences of my life since that frantic opening show. I've loved every minute of it. One word I've truly learned the meaning of is promotion. I've been chauffeured around in hearses, carried into football stadiums in my coffin, appeared on stages of all sorts, walked the streets with a gorilla, posed in numerous cemeteries, everything the warped minds of my producer and KPTV's promotional manager could dream up. My most embarrassing moment came after lying for an hour in a coffin for a halftime stunt. During the Oregon-Washington football game, I was found asleep when it came time for me to rise and lead the rally section. This particular game and stunt was carried by NBC television. My most frightening experience was the first appearance on my show of the 9-foot boa constrictor. Just try and remember your lines with 9 feet of snake coiling around you. The biggest laugh I've received, along with the moment I knew I had arrived, came when I drove up in front of a movie house where I was to appear on stage. Glancing up at the marquee, I read in big letters, "Tonight, on stage, Tarantula Ghoul, the monster from Green Hell, half human." It seems there wasn't room on the marquee to specify that the last 2 lines were film titles. Last Halloween, a college fan club of mine invaded Vancouver, Washington, with gallons of paint and brushes. Tarantula Ghoul Strikes Again appeared all over the city, but the classic but the classic appeared in the form of a sign hung in front of the Vancouver Fire Department. It read, "We haven't lost the basement yet." I'm not sure what that means. I think the most rewarding thing about the show, and this is the ham coming out in me, is the terrific thrill I get from my recognition everywhere. Usually adult fan worship is something seldom attained on the local level. Of course, I realize the enthusiasm I create isn't for Suzanne Waldron, actress, but for an offbeat oddity who visits their homes in an atmosphere of Halloween hilarity. Tarantula Ghoul. Romantic interests? Right now, there are none. I'm just everybody's ghoul friend. At the present time, plans are underway to present Tarantula Ghoul as hostess for a non-horror film once each month. She will be presented in scenes built around various film locales. For example, Tarantula Ghoul, Frontierswoman. She will host her first Rachel and the Stranger as Tarantula Ghoul in Boot Camp. She will spoof the Marine Corps in Flying Leathernecks. All of this is, naturally, an anticipation for the day the horror craze joins Davy Crockett. However, this will be, from present indications, a long way off. And that is that. Happy birthday, Suzanne Waldron, Tarantula Ghoul. From us to you, till tomorrow.